All these men right here, not a single woman in sight. He said something about woman in Islam. What does Islam think about women?
He was saying that Islam says that women must be kept at home.
Look, now we're getting chased. He has a knife.
You remember this story? The mainstream media covered it by covering it up. We covered it. Nick Shirley got on a plane and flew to Spain to cover what is still a problem over there. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants from Morocco, which is a Muslim-majority country, stampeding over the border 12 days ago after the Spanish Supreme Court ruled that any illegal immigrant that sets foot on Spanish territory gets due process. That was a mistake. It created an immigration crisis that modern Europe has never dealt with before over a 3-day period. And Spain is expecting this to happen all over again on Saturday, August 15th, which is this Saturday. Nick Shirley saw what was happening, immediately traveled to Spain, and as you just saw, he was chased down the road by illegal aliens with knives. At least 100 people have died. There's no accurate count. All of this is happening because of insane left-wing policies. Nick Shirley is with us. Nick, good to have you back. Take us through what it was like over there and why were you being chased?
Well, Ceuta, Spain, it's this teeny little town on the African continent, but it's still part of Spain. And they quite literally, it was very well coordinated. The Moroccan authorities let them come through, and then the Spain military, their border patrol, opened up the gates. And so you just had thousands upon thousands of men on this little teeny town. And it's interesting because there's, as you see, there's kind of like mountains and whatnot.
Right.
When you're driving around, there were just thousands of men just coming out of the mountain. And it was very interesting to see.
Did they know who you were? Like, why were you being chased?
Yes, the reason why I was chased. So towards the end of the video, in Ceuta, they closed down all the markets because they were afraid of these places being looted. So they had started opening up some of these markets. So I went to one of the markets that was open. And people were starting to walk around with their dogs because Muslims believe that dog saliva is impure. So right. I was showing that these people are walking around with dogs. And I start walking down the street a little bit more. And this one guy starts yelling at me. He's like, cut the camera, and starts saying all these curse words at me. And then all of a sudden he starts getting closer and closer. This man was never in my video. And then he gets closer and closer. Then I run to the other side of the street. He grabs a bottle out of the garbage, throws it at me, misses me. Then he starts throwing rocks at me. And then he comes across the street and begins chasing us and says that I'm going to stab both of you. And then he reaches for the knife in his pocket.
Wow.
And at that point, we just went for a full-on sprint.
I'm glad you got away. I mean, it looked like, just from the video, it looked like if he caught you, it wasn't going to end well. The Wall Street Journal wrote about this. Yeah, it didn't look that way. The Wall Street Journal wrote about this, and this is how the media is covering it. Europe's borders are finally working, which is like laughable. That was this Saturday. I want to play a video. This is how these illegal immigrants, this is one of your videos, this is how they were treating a Spanish cemetery.
This is quite literally where they're showering. They're using the cemetery to shower. Kind of a representation of what's actually happening here. The people died for this country, and now you have migrants that are showering on their graves.
Can I just ask you, I know it's a small spit of land where this all happened. How do the locals feel about this over there?
Their word was they feel powerless. The military didn't do anything. The government didn't do anything, and they were just they were left stranded by their government, quite frankly, and they had no option. These people didn't ask to come over. They just stormed the border, and the residents were the ones that had to deal with everything.
Wow. Another video, and I think this is interesting because we have this problem here. Hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors crossed our own southern border when Joe Biden was president. You talked to all these really young kids. Some were teenagers, but others were really young, and I noticed they were all alone. Take a look.
All these kids I'm around right now, they're all from 12 years old to 17 years old. They all came here all by themselves. They're all stranded right here. I love you. And they're all saying they love Pedro Sanchez, who's the current prime minister. It just goes on forever. They're all right here.
Okay, according to a report this morning, hundreds, if not thousands, of unaccompanied minors are still there. What are they doing there? Where are their parents?
They all went over there. They probably got news from the Moroccan side that people are starting to get to let into Europe. And so all these young kids and these teenagers all decide to go over to Spain. And maybe it's a tactic from the Moroccans to put all these kids in there, and then they grow up and they continue to spread, whether it be Islam or whatever they want inside of Europe. But all these kids are stranded there. Who knows what's going to happen to them? They're very well likely to get put into a trafficking. They could be kidnapped. Maybe they'll never see their parents again. And so it's very sad and inhumane to let this happen, because all these kids will then suffer from this.
Nick, glad you're back safe in the U.S. Good to see you. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right. The other part of this story